Have you ever had that feeling where you feel like you're just living the same exact day over and over and over again? Stuck in a loop you just can't seem to break out of? Well, today, we're diving into a really powerful, no-nonsense framework for some serious personal change, one that's designed to make you totally unrecognizable in the best way possible.
And this quote right here, it just gets straight to the point, doesn't it? It's not about you lacking talent or potential, not at all. It's about the patterns, the same old habits, the same excuses, the same mindset that keeps you planted right where you are. And if you're being honest, you know it's true.
This is the question that really matters most. Because waiting for motivation or waiting for the perfect time, that's a trap. It's a trap that keeps millions of people from ever even starting. So how do we actually begin?
It starts right here. Not with a feeling, not with a wish, but with a clear, 100% unambiguous decision. It's that moment you stop negotiating with your future and you just start building it. This is ground zero.
The perfect time to change? Spoiler alert, it is never going to show up. The real power to completely transform your life is available to you right now, in this very moment. It all begins the second you look at yourself in the mirror and say, with total honesty, enough.
Just look at the difference here. Hope, it's kind of passive, right? It just waits around for the conditions to be perfect. But a decision? That is an active force. It creates its own momentum by leaning into the discomfort that is absolutely essential for any kind of growth.
And this is the tipping point. It's that moment where your own excuses just become completely unbearable. It's when you get so fed up with your own stuff that taking action becomes the only way out. This isn't about being angry at the world, it's about refusing to accept average from yourself for one more day.
But look, a decision without action is totally meaningless. So once you make that choice, you have to back it up. You got to back it up with daily disciplines. We're not talking about theory here. We're talking about the practical, hands-on work that builds a brand new reality.
These are not just some nice suggestions. Think of these as your new non-negotiables. We're not trying to fix every single thing at once. We're just targeting the few actions that have the most leverage, the ones that create the biggest shifts.
Okay, this one requires some brutal honesty. Don't go making a list of 10 different things. Just pick the one. The one habit you pretend isn't a big deal, the one you're always making excuses for. You know what it is. Face that one head on and you'll prove to yourself that you are the one in control.
We have to totally reframe how we think about this. Saying no is not selfish, it's actually a profound act of self-respect. See, every time you say yes to something that doesn't line up with your goals, you're actually saying no to your own future. And protecting your energy, that's your job.
And that's the bottom line right there. Time is your single most valuable asset. Real growth doesn't just fit into the leftover minutes of your day. It demands your best hours. Taking control of your time is taking control of your life. So we've covered the external actions, the things you do. But honestly, none of them will ever stick if the internal work isn't there. This is all about rewiring that one voice that's with you 24/7.
Seriously, think about that for a second. That private, internal monologue you've got going on. Is it your ally or is it your harshest critic? Because that voice is either going to be your fuel or it's going to be your poison.
And that's the answer. You simply cannot build a stronger life if you're constantly telling yourself how weak you are. Now, this isn't about fake positivity. It's about holding yourself accountable without tearing yourself to shreds. It's about saying, yeah, this is hard, but you know what? I've done hard things before.
This is how you reframe your entire history. The most powerful people on this planet aren't the ones who had it easy. They're the ones who learned how to turn their pain into progress. Your past struggles can be the reason you stay stuck, or they can be the fuel that makes you absolutely unstoppable. You get to choose.
The real transformation happens right here, in the quiet moments. It's when you keep showing up day after day, even when nobody is watching, when you develop a personal standard that doesn't need applause from anyone else, well, that's where true, unshakable confidence is born.
So after the decision and the daily disciplines and mastering that inner game, what's the outcome? What does it actually look like when all of these pieces finally come together?
This slide just shows you how quickly things can start to shift when you move with real intention. Now, this isn't about becoming a perfect person in 3 weeks. It's about building so much momentum that the person you were just 21 days ago starts to feel like a total stranger. As you start to change, you have to shift where your energy goes. Wasting time trying to get other people to understand your journey is just a distraction. Let your actions introduce the new you. Let your discipline speak for itself.
The results will be the only explanation you'll ever need.
This is that feeling of real progress. It's when your new choices, your new standards, make the old version of you feel, well, distant and completely unfamiliar. That's the momentum. That's what proves the change is real and it's here to stay.
And that's where we're going to leave it. This isn't about destroying who you were. It's just about acknowledging that you've outgrown that person. The question was never if you can change. It's about deciding who you're committed to becoming, starting today.
Welcome. If you've ever felt that that inertia, that feeling of just sort of going through the motions, then today's deep dive is definitely for you.
Yeah.
We're looking into stuff that gets right to the heart of why we feel stuck and, more importantly, how to, well, change that picture dramatically.
Exactly. And our sources suggest it's often not about, lacking ability. It's more insidious.
Right. It's like repeating the same old habits, the same excuses.
The same mindset day after day. That's the loop.
So today, our mission is really to unpack a pretty potent framework aimed at smashing that cycle.
We're drawing heavily from a YouTube audiobook transcript. It's got a pretty bold title. How to Become Unrecognizable in 21 Days. From Narrative Directions.
Unrecognizable in 21 days. That sounds intense.
It does, but this isn't meant to be just hyper-vague promises.
Oh, right.
The material really insists it's a, quote, real plan to change your life step by step. So we're going to dig into the actual steps, the insights, see what it offers for real change fast.
Okay, so if being stuck is about these repeating patterns, where does this framework say we start? How do we break free?
Well, it starts with something that sounds simple but is maybe the hardest part. Chapter 1. Decide you're done being the same every day.
Just decide. That feels like a huge mental hurdle right there.
It is. The source talked about how we know we're in a rut, but we wait. We're always waiting for that magic moment or the perfect time.
Yeah, I'll start Monday or after the holidays.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But the source is blunt here. It says, the perfect time never comes.
So it's about the decision itself being the catalyst.
Precisely. And it's not just deciding, it's understanding why. Change isn't an accident, it's a firm decision. And it demands real honesty.
Yeah.
You have to ask yourself straight up, am I proud of how I spend my time, how I treat my body, how I show up for people?
That's uncomfortable territory.
Definitely. But the turning point, according to this framework, isn't finding some magical motivation. It's when staying the same becomes more painful than changing.
Wow.
That's when you start acting, even when you don't feel like it. You don't wait to feel ready because, let's be honest, most people never really do.
So it's less about feeling inspired and more about discipline.
Quiet, consistent follow-through. That's the idea. Backing up that initial decision day by day.
Okay, that makes sense. Deciding is step one, but then what? Do you decide you're done? But years of habits don't just vanish. How do you start untangling that?
Good question. And the framework moves right into that, very practically. Chapter 2 narrows the focus. Break one bad habit you always ignore daily.
Oh, one habit. Not trying to overhaul everything at once.
Exactly. And the source suggests you probably know exactly which habit it is. It's, quote, the one you keep pretending isn't that serious.
Yeah, okay. We all have that one. The one we downplay. Oh, it's just...
And the key insight here is how these seemingly small things, they accumulate daily. They drain your time, your focus, your energy. And slowly, quietly, they shape your identity.
Without you even realizing it sometimes.
Right. And there's an urgency here. The material says that habit controls you because you haven't truly decided this ends today.
So how do you break it? Just willpower.
It's more strategic. Understanding the habit cycle, the trigger, the action you take, the rewards you get. Then you interrupt it. You consciously replace the old action with something better, something aligned with who you want to be.
So not just stopping, but replacing.
Yeah. And it's framed as chasing long-term pride over that quick pleasure the bad habit gives you.
That makes sense.
You'll feel resistance, discomfort. The source is clear on that. But that feeling, it's framed as proof that change is actually happening. It's real.
So lean into the discomfort.
In a way, yes. The advice is to be ruthless about what stays and what goes. Make the change visible through action, not just thinking about it or talking about it.
Ruthless is a strong word, but I guess it implies a level of commitment needed.
I think so. It signals seriousness.
Okay, so decide. Break one key habit. But what about the fear? Making big changes, even breaking small habits, can be scary. Does the framework address that internal resistance?
Absolutely. That leads straight into chapter 3. Do what scares you, even when it's uncomfortable.
Right. confronting fear.
Yeah, but it's not always about, jumping out of planes. The source talks about a more common, silent kind of fear, the one that whispers doubt.
The one that makes you shrink back from an opportunity or freeze up when you think about taking a risk.
Exactly that. And there's a line in the material that really stood out to me, that fear has shaped more lives than failure ever has.
Wow. That hits hard. It's the fear of even trying, maybe.
And avoiding that fear just makes it stronger. It becomes, as the source says, part of your identity.
So you get known, even to yourself, as the person who plays it safe.
Yeah. So the path forward, according to this, is doing the exact thing your comfort zone tells you to avoid.
Not necessarily easy.
Not at all. It's not about suddenly becoming fearless. It's about moving forward anyway. Even if your hands are shaking, your voice is trembling, you do it anyway.
And that discomfort is good.
It's framed as proof that you're doing something worth doing. Courage isn't something you wait to feel. It's earned through doing.
So take action first, courage follows.
That's the idea. The challenge is identify one thing that scares you, just one, and do it today. Each time you face that discomfort, you're literally building a different future for yourself.
Okay, so we're deciding, acting on habits, facing fear externally. But then the framework turns inward. Chapter 4. Fix how you talk to yourself when no one's around.
Yeah, this one's crucial.
The source says, the words you say to yourself when no one else is listening shape your entire life. That's foundational.
Absolutely. It's presented as the bedrock, where strength or weakness really grows.
And we can be our own worst critics, can't we?
Totally. That destructive inner dialogue, I'm not ready, I always mess things up, it can sabotage everything before you even start.
So, is the answer just fake positivity? Tell yourself you're great, even if you don't believe it.
No, and that's key. It's not about fake positivity. It's about, and I like this phrasing, telling yourself the truth in a better tone.
Truth in a better tone. Okay, what does that mean practically?
It means being honest about where you are, your struggles, without being cruel. Holding yourself accountable, yes, but without tearing yourself down. The goal is becoming your own coach, not your own enemy.
Like shifting from critic to supporter.
Exactly. So instead of, I always mess up, maybe it's, okay, I made a mistake, what did I learn? Or I'm learning, I can handle this. This is hard, but I've done hard things before.
That feels more constructive.
It's about internal alignment, getting your mind on the same side as your mission. That creates momentum. And changing that voice. The source suggests it brings a profound sense of freedom.
I can see that. That inner critic can feel like a prison sometimes. Okay, so inner voice sorted. What about dealing with the outside world? Other people's demands?
Yes. That leads us to Chapter 5. Start saying no without feeling guilty or weak.
Oof. That's a big one for a lot of people, myself included sometimes.
Right. The source notes, we're often trained to believe that saying no means you're letting people down.
Yeah, the people pleaser trap.
Exactly. And it calls constantly saying yes a trap because it just drains your energy and steals your time bit by bit.
So saying no isn't rude.
Quite the opposite, according to this framework. It's framed as a powerful act of self-respect. The material states, every yes comes with a cost. Protecting your time, your peace, your energy that's presented as responsible, not selfish.
That's a significant reframe. Responsible, not selfish.
And being able to say no without that crippling guilt, it signals you've stopped living to please everyone.
Which implies you're starting to live for your own priorities.
Exactly. Now, the source acknowledges it won't always be easy. You might feel guilty, you might get pushback.
Yeah.
But that guilt, it's described as just the discomfort of unlearning an old habit.
The discomfort, again, seems like a theme.
It is. That feeling signifies you're finally putting yourself first. Ultimately, saying no isn't rejection, it's redirection. Redirecting your energy towards what truly matters to you. It brings clarity and helps you reclaim your life.
Okay, reclaiming life. But life isn't always smooth sailing. Sometimes there's real pain, setbacks. How does the framework handle that?
That's Chapter 6. Use your pain as fuel and stop feeling stuck. It directly addresses the fact that pain often becomes a wall for people, a reason to just stop.
Understandably so, sometimes.
Of course. But this chapter challenges that perspective head-on. It says pain doesn't have to be a prison. It doesn't have to be the reason you stay stuck. It can be fuel.
Fuel. How does pain become fuel?
By facing it, moving with it, not letting it define your paralysis. When you do that, the source argues, it transforms into fire, into meaning, into clarity. It reminds you what's really important.
So it's about your response to the pain.
Crucially, yes. The insight here is stuck is a feeling, not a fact. You didn't choose the pain, maybe, but you get to choose what it becomes.
And how do you do that? Practically.
The material suggests concrete actions to rebuild a sense of order and agency when you feel broken by pain. Simple things. Get up earlier. Move your body. Create something, anything. Clean your space.
Small actions to prove you're still in control of something.
Exactly. The goal is to show yourself you're not helpless. The pain might have shaken you, it might have hurt deeply, but it didn't end you. You're still here. There's still work to do.
That's powerful. Shifting from victim to, well, someone who uses the experience. Okay, so we're internalizing, setting boundaries, using pain. What about proving the change?
Ah, yes. That brings us to Chapter 7. Stop explaining yourself and just show real results.
Stop explaining why. Don't people need to understand?
The source argues there comes a point where talking no longer works, where explanations just become wasted energy because maybe people doubt you, or maybe you're just trying to convince yourself.
Okay, I can see that. Actions speak louder than words.
Precisely. The conviction here is absolute. Actions are the only proof that silence can't argue with.
Silence can't argue with actions. I like that.
And it suggests that constantly explaining often comes from insecurity, from seeking validation from others. But when you get really serious about transforming yourself, you stop needing that.
Your focus shifts inward.
Completely. It shifts to just showing up, doing the work, in silence, if necessary, until the results start speaking for you.
So let the outcome be the explanation.
Yes. And it highlights that growth isn't always loud. Sometimes it's quiet. It happens in those unseen moments of discipline. And that builds a really unshakable confidence because it's based on what you're actually building, not on external opinions.
But what about those times when you are working hard, building quietly, and literally no one notices? That must be tough.
It's arguably the toughest part, and that's Chapter 8. Work on yourself when nobody claps or cares.
Yeah, the real test.
Exactly. When there's no spotlight, when no one checks on you, when nobody asks how you're doing or sees how much effort you're putting in.
The silent grind.
That's the term. And the source says this is where real change happens. It's also where most people quit.
Why? Because the external validation isn't there.
Precisely. They need the applause, the encouragement. But the material emphasizes. You have to be your own source of fuel. You choose discipline even when the motivation has completely vanished.
So it's about intrinsic motivation, really. Doing it for yourself.
Yes. Building strength in silence. Focusing on the process, the work itself, not any potential praise. It acknowledges progress feels invisible at first. Often for a long time.
That can be discouraging.
It can. But the point is, the progress is real and steady, and eventually becomes undeniable. The real prize isn't the applause anyway. It's the internal shift, the confidence you build when nobody cared, but you kept going.
That kind of self-reliance requires immense focus, which ties into the next point, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Managing our focus, our time.
Perfectly. Chapter 9 tackles time. Take back your time like your life depends on it.
Because it does, right?
Because it absolutely does. The source points out how most of us treat time like it's endless. We let distractions, other people's demands, just steal it away piece by piece.
Guilty as charged. The phone. Endless scrolling.
We all do it to some extent. But this chapter is a wake-up call. It says you don't make time, you don't find time. You either control it or it controls you. Simple as that.
So how do you control it?
Get brutally honest first. Where's your time actually going? Track it. Be ruthless. Is it the phone? Draining people, mindless entertainment, things that, quote, steal your future.
Cut out anything that steals your future.
Right.
That's direct.
Very. The core message is blunt. You're not too busy. You're too distracted. Adopting that mindset, fiercely protecting your time, that's what makes you dangerous, in a good way. Powerful.
Dangerous to your old self, maybe?
Exactly. It enables you to actually build a life that reflects your real priorities, not just your distractions.
Okay, it all seems to be building towards a final, powerful idea, all these steps.
Yes, Chapter 10 pulls it all together with a bold claim. Prove to yourself you can change everything fast.
Fast. But isn't change usually slow and gradual? We often hear it takes years.
And the source calls that belief a trap that leads to delay, to procrastination. Oh, it'll take forever, so I'll start later.
Right. It lowers the urgency.
Exactly. But the core idea here is, well, revolutionary for some. Change doesn't have to take forever. It can be fast. It can be immediate.
How? What triggers that speed?
It happens the moment you decide to stop waiting and prove to yourself that you have more control than you think. It's about ditching the excuses, all of them, and pushing into your potential with real urgency. Treating your goals like they matter now, because they do.
So it's the intensity of action.
Intensity and immediacy.
Yeah.
The source powerfully states, time doesn't create change, action does. By moving with full effort, full honesty, full urgency, you can genuinely change faster than you thought was possible.
Wow.
And the ultimate proof isn't for anyone else. It's for you. Proving to yourself that everything can shift the moment you start protecting your comfort and start demanding more from yourself.
That's quite a journey packed into those steps. From deciding you're done to breaking habits, facing fear, fixing self-talk, saying no, using pain, showing results, working in silence, guarding time, and finally, acting with urgency.
It really paints a picture of comprehensive transformation.
It really does. Taking all these principles together, it's less about a 21-day magic trick and more about a fundamental shift in mindset and action. A decision backed by relentless, focused effort.
Exactly. It's about becoming unrecognizable to your former self, not necessarily in just 3 weeks, but starting now with that level of commitment.
Which leads to a fascinating final thought for everyone listening.
Yeah. Given that so much of this journey, this becoming unrecognizable, seems to hinge on that one powerful decision and then just consistent, quiet action, what seemingly small daily choice could you make starting today, right now? That would genuinely shock the version of you from just 3 weeks ago. What action would make that past self say, wow, I didn't think I had that in me?